I declare this podcast officially chaotic. Court is now in session. Today, I'm prosecuting my worst date. Yes, I put him on trial. I brought receipts. I called witnesses. They're my group chat. And I am asking for a sentence severe enough to banish him from brunch conversations forever. Why? Because some things are crimes against common sense, and somebody needs to read the statute of dating decency aloud. This escalated quickly. Here's what this trial will settle. Guilty or not guilty of committing a string of romantic misdemeanors, a petty but therapeutic sentence, and finally, emotional receipts evaluated on the record. We'll read text messages like they're damning letters, reenact the date like it's a low-budget courtroom drama, and hand down a punishment that is both ridiculous and oddly satisfying. If you enjoy laughing at wildly avoidable mistakes, congrats. You are my people. Meet the court. I am both host and judge. Judge Liv, which sounds authoritative until you realize my sentencing is mostly petty. My common sense sits on the bench like an unimpressed bailiff. The jury is my inner group chat. There's overly honest friend, cynical brand of me, and that voice that always thinks it's funnier than it is. The rules are simple. Evidence must be textual or emotional. No slander, and all punishments must involve at least one creative GIF. Exhibit table is open. Exhibit A, the text thread. I will now read the message that set off the trial. He opened with, "Hey, we should grab coffee sometime," which is cute, normal, adult. Then, "I'm actually really into my plants lately. You? Not a crime." Then, the masterpiece of modern ghosting. A 3-day pause. Then, "Sorry, my phone died," followed by a single emoji that looked like a confused potato. I have kept these messages like evidence in a shoebox under my bed. And yes, I still reread them when I'm sad and also when I need comedic material. I'll do dramatic readings because obviously the texts deserve it. Me. "Hey, want coffee Saturday?" Him. "Yes, Saturday works." Then, "Actually, I have to work late. Can we do Sunday?" Then, never mind. My neighbor's iguana's sick." That line aged like milk. He tried to pivot from flake to tragic pet owner and somehow made both worse. Listeners, when you see "my iguana" used as an excuse, that should be a red flag so bright it requires sunglasses. Also, why was I picturing a tiny soap opera for reptiles? Exhibit B, the date, play-by-play. We finally meet at a coffee shop that smells suspiciously like regret and almond milk. He arrives 20 minutes late and apologizes by blaming traffic, and then shows me a deeply unconvincing photo of himself stuck behind a line of trucks that was obviously a screenshot from a driving simulator. Conversation? It begins with him explaining his Exes cookbook collection for 8 minutes. I nod so hard I almost develop whiplash. Then comes the classic. He orders the most complicated drink on the menu and then complains about my choice of chai, as if beverages are moral alignments. I learned 2 things. 1, never date someone who treats barista orders like a personality test. And 2, I will forever be haunted by the picture of him clutching a sad scone. Exhibit C, social footprint and red flags. His social media was a curated museum of looks cool but is actually unbothered, which translates to a lot of desert photos, cryptic captions, and the old classic new phone who dis selfies. He also had a history of replying to my stories with single-word compliments, nice, and then liking 3-week-old photos of me unironically. Pro tip, if someone's online behavior is as consistent as their ability to leave you on red, that's not unpredictability, that's a pattern. Also, I noticed he never introduced me to his friends, which in retrospect was a clear, this is casual if by casual you mean confusing. Cross-examination time. And by cross-examination, I mean me interrogating my own life choices. Why did I go on 3 dates with someone who used my iguana as a fallback alibi? Was I lonely? Did I think I could fix someone with humor? Probably both. Best friend interlude. Overly honest friend text. Girl, you knew. Cynical me snarks. You like chaos, don't pretend you don't. My actual inner voice whispers, you deserved better. But also, this will be a great story. So I roast myself while also roasting him. The real verdict here is that I allowed small red flags to become a full pattern billboard because I was too busy enjoying the idea of someone who could potentially, maybe eventually be interesting. That is on me. Deliberation. The jury, my group chat, debates. Overly honest friend wants maximum petty sentencing, public apology via artisanal postcard, and maybe a year-long ban from brunch spots. Cynical me suggests community service. He must write handwritten notes explaining why he ghosted to be distributed at local coffee shops. Empathetic tiny me says maybe he was dealing with stuff, but also that's not an excuse for not communicating. The jury cannot reach a unanimous decision because we're split between laugh and move on and demand closure via interpretive dance. We award him a petty trophy anyway. Most creative excuse, second place. Actually, 0 people get second place because we're petty like that. Verdict and sentencing. Guilty of being inconsiderate and chronically underwhelming. Sentence, a mandatory month of reading texts aloud to plants, a social media ban for the purpose of reflection, and a public food critique of the worst thing he ever ordered on a date. But the real sentence I hand down to myself and to anyone listening is permission. Permission to drop the case and walk away without an explanation that makes you feel like you failed. Sometimes the best justice is not getting a dramatic explanation, but granting yourself dignity and a good new playlist. Reflection. What did we learn? Look for consistent actions, not cute one-liners. If someone disappears, the default is not they're having a minor tragedy, but they're not prioritizing you, and you get to decide if that's okay. Boundaries are not dramatic. They are tiny acts of self-respect that save you an entire therapy bill later. Be kinder to yourself. Laugh at the absurdity, extract the lesson, and maybe, this is key, tell the story to your friends so they can judge it on your behalf and you can enjoy the emotional catharsis. We all deserve to be the protagonist of our own less confusing rom-com. If today's episode made you laugh, snort, or feel slightly superior to someone who uses my iguana as an excuse, then my job here is done. Do me a favor. Leave a review. Tell the jury what you think the sentence should be. Your 5-star petty verdict helps other listeners find the podcast and also feeds my ego in measurable ways. Next week, I'll be trying someone at the court of Exes again. And trust me, it only gets messier. Stay chaotic. I'll see you next Messy Tuesday on This Escalated Quickly. Stay chaotic.